Some men on the frontier carried something in their belt that had nothing to do with bullets or blades. It was number 7 on our list, and it was believed to be more powerful than any firearm. The men who carried it swore it kept them alive. The money on a cowboy's back wasn't always in his saddlebag. Number 2 on our list reveals exactly where the smartest men on the trail hid everything they owned, and it was hidden in plain sight the whole time. You will not believe what number 9 actually was. Most people think they know this one, but the truth behind it will change everything. Cowboys didn't just carry guns, they carried a whole world on their hips, and today we're counting down the 15 hidden items they kept tucked inside their gun belts. Number 15, tobacco and matches. There wasn't much comfort out on the open range, but a man could always reach for his tobacco pouch. Cowboys carried their tobacco and matches in vest pockets during short rides, but out on a long stretch, especially in wind and rain, those same items moved to a sealed leather pouch right on the belt. A damp match was worthless, so matches were stored in tight, thin sheets inside waterproof cases. Tobacco cost just a few cents a pouch, but on a 32-mile patrol through cold, empty country, it was worth more than its weight. It kept hands busy, gave the mind something to settle on, and served as a form of currency with strangers on the trail. A pinch of tobacco offered to another rider was as good as a handshake. Number 14, turpentine and snakebite remedies. A rattlesnake could end a man's life faster than a bullet, and every cowboy knew it. Snakebite kits of the late 1800s were small enough to clip right onto a belt, and they contained items like turpentine, iodine tinctures, and ammonia inhalants. Turpentine applied to a bite was common practice, even though we know today it did little good. But out there, in the dust of the Southwest where copperheads and rattlers were everywhere underfoot, having that kit on your hip was the difference between panic and action. The cost of doing nothing was death. These compact kits gave men the confidence to keep moving through dangerous terrain, and that confidence alone had real value. Number 13, cap boxes for percussion firearms. Before the 1870s brought self-contained metallic cartridges, a cowboy loading his revolver had to manage small, delicate copper percussion caps. These caps were volatile. Drop one, crush one, or let moisture get to it, and your weapon was useless. Cap boxes were small pouches, usually lined with sheepskin to cushion the caps and keep them dry, worn right at the front of the belt for fast access. A man carrying a Colt 1851 Navy needed that box within reach at all times. In a confrontation, every second of reloading time mattered. The sheepskin lining muffled any rattling sound, which also meant you weren't announcing your position on a quiet night. Number 12, handcuff and call box keys. By the 1880s, law enforcement in the West had grown into something organized and professional. Deputies and town marshals began carrying Sam Brown-style rigs with dedicated pouches for handcuff keys and what were called Gamewell keys. The Gamewell key opened city call boxes, metal stations mounted on street corners that connected directly to the police desk sergeant by telegraph wire. For a lawman working a beat, that key was his lifeline to backup. It was a small piece of iron, but it represented something much bigger. A shift from lone frontier justice toward a structured system of order. The men who carried these keys were part of something new taking root in the West. Think about what it meant to be a cowboy in 1880. No radio, no phone, no way to call for help if something went wrong. Everything a man needed to stay alive, do his job, and find his way home had to fit on his body. That belt wasn't a fashion statement, it was a lifeline, buckled tight every single morning before the sun came up. Number 11, hardtack rations. Reaching into a saddlebag while bundled in a heavy winter coat, soaking wet, riding hard, wasn't always possible. So cowboys solved the problem the way they solved most problems, with practicality. Small pouches on the gun belt held hardtack, a dense biscuit made from flour and water that could last for weeks without going bad. It had almost no flavor and the texture of dry stone, but it packed enough calories to keep a rider going when stopping wasn't an option. For a man separated from his pack animals in bad weather, that pouch of hardtack on his belt was the only thing standing between him and going without food entirely. Number 10, Family daguerreotypes. Months could pass before Cowboy saw his family again. The trail was long, the work was hard, and home felt like a different world. Early photography gave these men something they'd never had before, a way to carry a face with them. Daguerreotypes and tintypes were small enough to fit inside hinged metal or leather cases, tucked into a belt pouch where they stayed protected from heat and moisture. The silver-plated copper surface scratched easily and fogged if it got wet, so keeping it safe required care. A photograph in a belt pouch wasn't a luxury. It was a reminder of why the work mattered. Number 9. Pocket Bibles with Protecto shields. Here's the one that surprises most people. The small leather-bound Bibles that frontiermen carried weren't all just spiritual comfort. Some were manufactured and sold with a 20-gauge steel cover, marketed under the name the Protecto Shield Vest Pocket Bible. The manufacturers claimed that steel plate could deflect a bullet, shrapnel, or a bayonet. The Federal Trade Commission eventually stepped in and banned those claims, but for a man heading into dangerous country, the idea of carrying both scripture and a physical shield in the same object was deeply appealing. Whether the steel held up or not, what it gave a man was confidence, and on the frontier, confidence could keep you moving when fear would stop you cold. Number 8. Memorandum warrants. Bass Reeves was one of the most respected lawmen the American West ever produced. He stood 6'2", made over 3,000 arrests during his career, and rode for the law in Indian Territory where most men wouldn't go. He also could not read. Reeves had each warrant read aloud to him until he had memorized every detail, the name, the crime, the description. Then he stuffed those paper warrants into his belt pouches and pockets and rode out on his white horse to bring those men in. He never brought in the wrong person. The warrant gave him legal authority, and his memory gave him precision. That combination made him nearly unstoppable. Number 7. Talismans and luck charms. The frontier was unpredictable in ways that no amount of skill could fully account for. A horse could spook, a gun could misfire, a storm could come out of nowhere. So men carried things they believed could tip the odds in their favor. Lucky silver dollars, 4-leaf clovers preserved in a thin sheet of isinglass, and small medicine bags containing animal bones or stones all found their way into belt pouches and pockets. Trappers who worked alongside Native American communities often adopted medicine bags as their own, seeing them not as superstition but as a kind of insurance. The physical weight of those charms was almost nothing. The peace of mind they offered was everything. Number 6. Trade-alls and repair needles. A broken saddle strap or a torn boot wasn't just an inconvenience out on the range. It was a serious problem. Cowboys and scouts carried trade-alls, small metal spikes used to punch holes through thick cowhide or buckskin, along with heavy needles and sinew thread. Bone and iron awls had been used for centuries before the frontier era, and they remained essential because leather gear broke down constantly under hard use. The ability to repair your own equipment on the trail without needing to ride days back to a town kept men alive and mobile. Every stitch made in the field was a small act of survival. It's easy to look at the Old West and see the romance of it, the wide open spaces, the horses, the sunsets, but behind that picture was an enormous amount of daily problem solving. These men weren't just tough. They were creative, resourceful, and deeply prepared. The gear on their belts tells you more about who they really were than any photograph ever could. Number 5. Native American wampum belts. For Native American scouts and tribal leaders, the belt was not a weapon rig. It was a document. Wampum belts were carefully crafted from white and purple shell beads and used to record treaties, announce council meetings, and declare peace or war. A belt featuring 2 purple rows down a wide white field signaled a path of peace, allowing the person carrying it to move through hostile territory without being challenged. These belts served as passports, legal records, and diplomatic archives all at once. They were not decorations. They were trusted as binding agreements between nations, carrying the full weight of law in a world where written language was not the common currency of communication. Number 4. Quinine sulfate packets. Malaria, called intermittent fever in the 1800s, was a constant threat near rivers and swampy ground throughout the Southwest. The only real medicine against it was quinine, a bitter powder extracted from the bark of the cinchona tree. During the Civil War, quinine became so scarce and valuable under the Union blockade that it was smuggled inside hollowed-out animals and sewn into dress hems. A lawman patrolling the river bottoms of the Southwest carried small packets of this powder in his belt pouch, usually mixing it with whiskey to get it down. Without it, a fever could take a healthy man off his horse in days. A few cents worth of bitter powder was all that stood between a working man and weeks of sickness. Number 3. Laudanum tinctures. Frontier medicine did not offer many options. If a man broke a tooth 3 days from the nearest town or took an injury on the trail and still had cattle to move, he needed something that would let him keep going. Laudanum, a 10% solution of opium dissolved in alcohol, was the most widely used painkiller of the Victorian era. Small glass vials of the reddish-brown liquid were tucked into belt pouches and vest pockets across the West. It treated pain, insomnia, and stomach illness, and it was completely unregulated. By the 1880s, widespread dependence had become a serious problem. But for a man in the saddle with a wound and 50 miles left to ride, that small vial was what kept him moving. Number 2. The void, hidden currency in gold. In a land with no banks on the trail, a man carried his entire financial life on his body. The money belt was built with a specific secret, a long hidden pocket called the void. Makers folded a wide strip of soft leather in half and stitched along the center, creating a concealed channel that ran the full length of the belt. Gold coins, silver, paper cash, and legal documents all disappeared into that void, invisible to anyone who looked. Highwaymen knew about saddlebags. They knew about coat pockets. But a well-made money belt looked like nothing more than a thick piece of leather. A cowboy earning $30 a month in 1880, the equivalent of roughly $1,000 today, could carry his entire month's wages on his waist and nobody would ever know. Number 1. The Flint roll and char cloth. Everything else on this belt depended on one thing: fire. Fire meant warmth on a freezing night. It meant cooked food, boiled water, a signal that could be seen for miles, and a torch when darkness fell. Friction matches existed by the 1870s, but on the frontier, a wet match was a dead match. River crossings, rainstorms, and the constant high winds of the open plains made matches unreliable when you needed them most. So experienced scouts, trappers, and cowboys carried the flint roll, a piece of flint, a steel striker, and a small roll of char cloth, bits of fabric that had been slowly charred in an airless tin until they caught a spark with almost no effort. Museum artifacts show these steel strikers worn down to bright, polished edges from thousands of strikes, used not just for practice but for real survival. The flint roll was older than the West itself, older than the Republic, older than most of the traditions these men lived by. And yet they kept it, because it worked when nothing else would. On the frontier, the man who could make fire was the man who could keep his crew alive through the worst the country threw at them. That piece of flint in a leather belt pouch was the oldest tool in the kit, and the most important one. The men who wore these belts weren't carrying costumes. They were carrying solutions to problems that could end a life before sundown. Every pouch, every hidden pocket, and every worn leather loop tells you something real about what it took to live and work in that country. The West wasn't built on legend. It was built on preparation. What item on this list surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments below because we'd love to know which one changed the way you think about the men who built this country.